Good evening and Merry Christmas. It's so wintry out. We haven't had winter for Christmas in forever. It's good to have you here, see you here. I keep saying good morning to everybody, but it's actually the evening, is it not? So my name is Reverend Nathan Dieter, and I am privileged to be one of the ministers here. We have a few announcements. I want to first of all welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Area Church at First Parish in Sherburne. We have a long name, and the long name matches how friendly and warm and amazing you all will be singing all of our songs tonight, okay? The crowd is kind of low in energy. We need to boo it up a little bit, okay? All right. So whoever you are, however you're feeling this time of year, it's a complicated time of year for some people. Just so glad you're able to be here with us and to be present to yourself and to your loved ones. We want to first, we have a bunch of people who are watching online, because if you haven't been here in a while, you notice we have TVs now, and there's a camera. So we're going to wave to everybody on the camera back there. Happy Christmas, everybody on the camera. We have a few announcements. So kids are always, of course, this is our family service, so children, please stay. Adults, if you need to leave, we have rooms back in the back you can go chill out in. We want our young people to stay. If you're new to our community, you want to learn more about us, there's a blue card in your pews. You can fill that out and just give it to one of the ushers as you're leaving tonight. This coming Sunday, which is the 29th at 10:30 in the morning, it's our annual Burning of the Grudges service. So if you have any grudges built up over the year, this is your chance to come join us. The service will be led by our ministerial intern, Ian Evans, and we get to burn some grudges. And then if you need more space, there's plenty of space up in the choir loft with India Wood, our technician wizard for this evening. And last but not least, in the spirit of Christmas is welcoming the stranger. I invite you to say good evening and Merry Christmas to anyone you haven't done so yet right now. Thank you.
Good evening. I feel like I've just come out from backstage from behind this beautiful backdrop. Behind there is also service dog Sully, asleep in the hay. I'm one of your ministers as well. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Calling all who cannot wait any longer for joy, for hope, and for some good news, even a little. The time has come. The waiting is over.
Here in this time, we have an old story to tell. One that has been shared over and over for thousands of years, but still somehow it remains unheard. It is still radical and it is still risky.
Breaking through into these days of darkness and cold, division and fear, interrupting the perpetual stories of violence and loss and feelings of powerlessness.
Into the errands and the errors of our everyday, Christmas still arrives not only to comfort, but to awaken, to reassure, and also to stir us to new life, a life of peace and justice, and courageous love struggles to be born.
Wondering if we will yet be the ones who make room in our lives and in our world for the refugee, the poor, the plain and the messy sweetness of a newborn baby.
If we will take the journey to Bethlehem, if we will be changed by the presence of a love that meets us where we are in the fields, wherever we lay,
and calls us forth into a new journey, a braver and bolder life, believing that it is not too late for strong and gentle people to win.
or for compassion and truth to have the final say, for the bright light of hope to shine through even on the darkest night.
Come, let us celebrate Christmas and worship together.
Good evening. I'm Ian Evans. I'm the ministerial intern here at UUAC. My pronouns are he, him. And now is the time for lighting the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Please join me in saying our covenant together, which is printed in your orders of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. Tonight also culminates the season of Advent, the time that we have set aside to prepare and make room for the holy. On the first Sunday of Advent, we lit a candle for hope. On the second, is that one lit? Is hope lit? All right, great. On the second Sunday, we lit a candle for peace. On the third, we lit a rose-colored candle that symbolizes the transition and contemplation to joy. Last Sunday, we lit our fourth candle representing love. And on this Christmas Eve, we light one more candle in the center representing the birth of Jesus. May it represent the spirit of possibility within each of us. We celebrate the love that is the spirit of the season. And while we won't light candles for the menorah today, as Hanukkah doesn't start until tomorrow night, we've got our first candle here ready in anticipation. When the candles are lit this week and the light begins to increase, so too may our joys and delight in one another. In the spirit of Hanukkah, may we all be blessed with resilience, miracles of persistence, and rededication to that which we find sacred. And now we invite you to rise in body or in spirit to raise your voices for our first Christmas hymn, O Come All Ye Faithful.
Please be seated.
As we do every year, we retell the story of Jesus' birth. And some might ask, and many have asked, why we tell this story and celebrate Christmas in a Unitarian Universalist church. What can it mean here? What can it mean for me to be a Jewish storyteller telling the story of Christmas in a Unitarian Universalist church? I think we all have different answers to that, but I would say we tell this story in our Unitarian Universalist congregations for a few reasons. First, we share the story of Christmas to honor the Christian roots of both Unitarianism and Universalism. Second, we lift up Christmas as a holiday that means so much to so many in our congregations, and we are a community that values learning from each other's spiritual practices and our journeys. And third, we find in this story of amazing love in hard circumstances a thing that is powerful and beautiful, whether we think of it as metaphor, parable, history, or sacred. May we open ourselves to finding new truths in it. And the story usually begins something like this. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. And Joseph traveled to Bethlehem in Judea with his betrothed Mary, who was with child. And while they were there, the time came for the baby to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and placed him in a manger, for there was no room at the inn. Tonight, we'll hear our story told from a few of its main characters to hear what it maybe felt like for them. And then we'll ask each of us, those who want to participate, to help embody the story in a few different ways. But first, we invite up Mary to share her story.
It was a long, hard journey, but we had no other choice. The emperor declared that all would be registered, and we had to go. I was cold, tired, and frightened that night as Joseph and I arrived in Bethlehem. We began looking for a place for our baby to be born. Again and again, we were turned away. "There's no room for you here," they said. "Your kind isn't welcome here," they said. We searched and searched until at last we were ushered into a warm stable by a kind innkeeper. That night, I discovered the miracle of shelter, protected by roof and walls, and warmed by the presence of animals. In that moment, warmth was a miracle, and birth feels ordinary, given by animals and humans across the world every day, every moment, but it is also impossibly miraculous every single time. And then our baby was born among the donkeys and the sheep, and he was perfect. An angel told me that people would worship him, ridiculous as that seems of a poor baby born in the hay. Yet, as I gazed upon his face, I wondered how any could keep from worshiping him. Such possibility, such beauty, such life in his small, perfect face. How could anyone help but fall to their knees before the impossible miracle of life?
Thank you. And now to help us embody the story of a new baby, welcomed and kept warm, I'll invite up a few volunteers, maybe 4 or 5 of you, to come and help tuck in the new baby. We have cute little blankets, so as we sing, we'll share some warmth with the baby and his family by taking a blanket, Ian will help you, and adding it to the manger. So if we can have like 4 or 5 helpers come on forward. While they do, we'll sing verses 1 and 2 of the carol, Away in a Manger. Come now, let's share the ordinary and miraculous warmth of our hearts.
The story says, "On that night there were shepherds in the field watching over their flocks by night, when suddenly an angel with a magnitude of heavenly host appeared to tell them of the holy child, singing glory to God." Glory to God in the highest, and on earth a peace, goodwill to all. We now have an angel to tell their story.
And so, a baby was born, and the light of its new life shone in the darkness, and the light was reflected in the sky, and the stars shone in the darkness, and one star shone so brightly, and its light started to grow, until the light filled the darkness, and there was no night, and there was no day. Time became whole, and there was only now. And there was no heaven and earth, and the world became whole, and there was only here. And so all of us angels of heaven, we were here. Do you feel us? A stirring in the air, the movement of our wings around you, the touch of feathers, electrifying and gentle, somehow both at once. Do you hear us? The sound of music, faint but unmistakable, all around you and deep inside you, unlike anything you have ever heard before, and somehow also something you have always known. When angels are present, we bring you a message. What message do we bring that night? A baby is born, and all things are possible. Love and peace, justice and mercy, hope and joy. A baby is born. Open your eyes, open your hearts, and witness the glory of this moment. Bring your light and join us in our song.
And now, any kids or youth who want to come forward, come and share your light by adding a star to our sky. As they add stars, let's sing a few verses of Angels We Have Heard on High.
Can everybody see all those stars? 100%. It is amazing. So as the story continues, when the angel appeared and the glory of God shone around them, the shepherds in the field were so afraid And yet the angel told them, "Fear not." And when they had gone away, they went to Bethlehem to see the baby lying in the manger. And they spread the word of what they had seen and heard on the night. So next we have a shepherd to come up and tell their side of the story.
We were trembling still after the angels left us, and we debated among ourselves. Would we go to see this wonderful child whom the angels had proclaimed? Could a child save us from the crushing grip of Rome? Could a little baby bring goodwill to all in this world of strife? Surely not. And why had the angels come to us, lowly shepherds living out among the animals? We were full of doubt, but in the end, our curiosity won out. Our curiosity and a wild seed of hope unfolding inside. Perhaps it was true. Perhaps peace was possible. Perhaps tyrants would tremble before the promise of a tiny babe. Perhaps the last could be first, and the poor lifted up. Perhaps tender, vulnerable love was stronger than we ever would have guessed. And so we went. We brought our animals, and we followed the star, full of doubt, full of fear, and somehow still full of hope.
And this is maybe my favorite part, because you have all these animals that need to gather up in the manger, and maybe even a few stuffed aliens and all kinds of things. If you'd like to help fill our stable with stuffed animals, Reverend Joe and Ian, we're going to have a big basket full of them. And as we do that, we'll be singing First Noel verses 1 and 2.
That is the best Judean barnyard I've ever seen. The story goes on to say that when Jesus was born in Bethlehem, catching my breath from going up there. The story says that when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, that wise men from the east came to Jerusalem seeking the baby to worship him. They followed the star to Bethlehem, bearing gifts befitting a king, gold and frankincense and myrrh. We invite forward one of our wise people to tell the story.
We didn't know exactly where we were going. We didn't know what we would find, but we set out on faith, guided by prophecy and a star. The star grew brighter and brighter to the west of where we were. It was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of brilliance. We prepared for a long journey and found rich gifts to bring into the presence of such great splendor. We brought the best we had to serve our King. In the end, we were speechless with surprise to find a baby there, tiny and dusty, in the hay. But there he lay, and in him we saw the truth as it had been foretold, that God would live among us in the weak and the vulnerable, that love doesn't need the power of kings to do its transforming work in the world. It just needs us, our hands and feet, our gifts from within. We brought the best we had in the service of love, and we went away changed forever.
Thank you. Each of us has gifts within us, which we share with the world when we act with love. And each of us has a long journey ahead of us because it's never easy or certain to share our most precious gifts with the world. But we invite you to share a gift tonight. So those who wish can now come forward to receive a jewel from Ian to carry in a procession around the church. So you'll grab a jewel and carry it around, let everybody see it. And know that this jewel is just a little thing, but it's really your gift that we're glad to receive. So as you all process around the church with your gifts, with your jewels, we'll sing We Three Kings.
Merry Christmas, everyone. We will now collect a Christmas Eve offering, which will be distributed among 5 area food pantries in Natick, Holliston, Hopkinton, Ashland, and Millis. Tonight, we invoke a quote from Anne Frank, a teenage Jewish Dutch girl whose diary from the years she was hiding in during World War II has helped generations of people around the world learn about the Holocaust. She wrote, "Hunger is not a problem. It is an obscenity. how wonderful it is that nobody need to wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. None of us need to wait a single moment before starting to improve the world either. To donate, please help feed our neighbors. You can scan the QR code on the screen or on your order of service. Go to uuac.org and click Donate, or you can drop cash or check in the baskets as they're brought around. If you're new to UUAC and would like to stay in touch, you can fill out one of the blue cards in the pew and add them to the offering basket as it goes around. Thank you for your generosity.
Our story ends for tonight with Mary, pondering these things in her heart. What will become of this baby? Visited by angels, admired by shepherds, worshipped by foreign kings. The story ends there for tonight, but we know where it goes. He would be a threat to the empire and a light for the world, a teacher so beloved that his teachings would live on for thousands of years. He would share a love so radical, so strong, some believe they can still feel it even now. Most of all, he would be among those who show humankind what is possible when we share our light with one another, when we share our light with the world. Let us share that light this night.
As many of us know, it is our tradition here on Christmas Eve to pass the candle flame from person to person as we sing together Silent Night. A reminder for the instructions to always hold your lit candle upright as the flame is passed.
With each of our candles lit, let us find our center, find a gentle stillness. We invite you to draw your attention toward the candle in your hand, its small spark of a divine light, and then look around and know that you are held in community.
This Christmas Eve, let this spark, this light represent hope, your hope. the hopes that you have nurtured.
And this Christmas Eve, let this flame stand for peace, a peace that comes from each person having enough, and in all the places tonight where conflict and people are suffering.
And let this light represent joy this season, that imperfect, complex, defiant joy of living in this imperfect, complicated, broken world.
And finally, let this light represent love. Our love, a holy love, a divine, unending love. A love so powerful it would move heaven and earth. A love so powerful that we would be reminded that God can be found in human form. That the holy dwells inside each and every one of us.
This Christmas, we are pausing to remember the incarnation of holy love in human form. It's a miracle of hope and of peace and of joy, of love, of darkness, and friends, also of light.
And I invite you, if you're not already risen in body or spirit, to join us in rising and carefully lift your candles high and look around at the beauty of our love and our light shared. Breathe in this hope. Breathe in this peace. Breathe in this joy. Breathe in this love and let it envelop you. Take one last look around at this room aglow, these beloved faces. And let us bring our candles down and we'll blow them out together and sing joy to the world. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare a throne. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the earth, now that is friends. Let hearts their songs employ, while fields and floods, on fields and plains, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. Beloveds, this Christmas, may we know our bodies, our hearts as the home of God, the home of love. May we live as though we know this to be true. And let us remember that we each have sacred, intangible, holy gifts to offer the world. Let us remember that the light of love lives in each person we meet, especially when it's hard, and that each encounter is a chance to encounter the divine. Let us remember that we can always be even more than kind. We can be a little more gentle, a little more tender, a little more loving with ourselves and with one another. This Christmas, let us be the ones to do the work of Christmas, creating peace, offering love, and bearing the light as we heal this world. Merry Christmas. Go in peace.